This is video number 33 for violin and viola players. In this video, we're going to learn how to play number 42 in your Essential Elements book, Old MacDonald. Now, before we do that, I want to kind of look at the whole thing, and then we're going to talk about what are the problems with this. We're going to work on those, then we're going to try it from the beginning, eventually by the end of this video with the recording. So, the first thing that I notice in 42, look at the end of the first line. There are two things that are tricky here. First of all, there's the repeat sign. Now, this is happening not at the end of the song like you've seen before. Sometimes with a repeat sign, you don't play the whole song again. Sometimes you only play a portion of the song. So in this case, you're going to play the first line again, and then do line 2, and then do line 3, and then you're done. Okay? Now, the other thing that's tricky here is the rhythm. We've not seen, I don't believe we've seen this combination of notes in rest yet. A quarter note, 2 quarter rest, and then a quarter note. So we're going to work on that first, okay? I want you just to play open D, rest, rest, open D. Okay, play that with me. 1, 2, rest, and go. D, rest, rest, D. Okay, try that again. 1, 2, rest, and go. D, rest, rest, D. Now, here's what's kind of tricky. Look at measure 4 of number 42. That's the rhythm that we just played. It goes from G, rest, rest, open D, and then right then, you've got to go way back to either the beginning of the song, if it's the first time you're playing it, or you've got to go to the second line. Now, either way, you're going to go back to the note G, because the beginning of the first line is a G, as is the beginning of the second line. So why is that tricky? All fingers, no fingers, all fingers. That's why. So here's what I want you to do. I want you just to practice that rhythm, that measure, plus one note. So what you're going to do, G, rest, rest, D, G, just that. Play that with our metronome. Echo me. No, play with me, play with me. 2, rest, and go. G, rest, rest, D, G. Do it again. With me and go. G, rest, rest, D, G. One more time. Rest, and go. G, rest, rest, D, G. Okay? Now, the other place that people mess up typically in this song is the beginning of measure 3. I don't know what it is with the measure 3s in this book, but they got a problem, or they give us problems. Measure 3s are kind of a problem sometimes. Now, the only thing I can think of is all of a sudden, bam, you're on the H string, and you have to put a finger down, okay? That's the only reason I think people mess this up. So, because you're good at going from G to D, that's not a big deal. The rhythm's not tricky. And look, it just goes down a scale. Look at measure 3 and 4. B, B, A, G. That's all it does. So I think people mess that up because they're not thinking ahead. They're not going, oh, I got to switch strings and I got to put a finger down. So I want you to play measure 3 plus one note and just notice how easy it is. Go ahead and play with me. Don't echo, play with me. Measure 3 plus one note only. B finger down, one finger on the H string. 1, 2, rest, and go. B, B, A, G. Just that. Try that again with me. Measure 3 plus one note. Rest, and go. B, B, A, G. All right. Now, let's try from the very beginning and see what happens. We're going to do the first line twice, and that's all we're going to do. Okay? The first line twice. Why are we doing it twice? Because the repeat sign. And remember, we're going to go D, G, back to the beginning really fast when that repeat sign hits. Okay? Very beginning. G finger down. 1, 2, rest, and go. G, 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 D, E, E. Now look ahead. What's next? Get ready. Here it comes. B, B. Now down a scale. Careful. G, rest, rest, D, beginning. G, 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 D, E, E, D, rest. Now B again. B, B, A, G, rest, rest, D. I have a feeling some of you played during the second rest. okay, on measure 4. So take some time and get that figured out, and then join us again, because we're going to go ahead and play the whole song. Like, oh, we haven't learned line 2 and 3. Well, let's look at line 2 for a second. Look at line 2. G, 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 D. So you might think, oh, that's super easy, and it can be, but if you're not looking at your music, it's not going to go well for you. What's going to happen to you? You're not going to put that D in the right place. The one note that it's not a G in that line, you're going to miss it. So watch your music, okay? And then why are we not looking at the last line? Well, look at it now. G, 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 D, E, E, D, B, B, A, A, G. Look familiar? It should. It's the same thing as line 1 without that pesky little D at the end that messes us up. So line 3, you're going to get this, no problem, okay? Go ahead and practice line 1. Once you get line 1, I really feel like you really do the whole thing. So if you get line 1 and you can get that resting at the end of line 1 in measure 4, you've got this. Once you've got that, join us as we play it all together. Okay, 42.
42. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Good hand position, fingertips flat, and go G, 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 D, E, E, D. What's next? It's a B. Now down a scale. Now careful. G, rest, rest. Now D. Beginning. G. Now come ahead. What's next? Look ahead. B. Here comes that rest again. Get it this time. Rest, rest. Now, second line. G. We're in the land of G's now. More G's. Now don't get lost in them. There's 7 more G's. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now D. Last line. Rest. E, E, A, G. Okay, now I want you to notice how I counted the end of the second line. I said there are 7 G's, but I didn't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, did I? I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Some of you already know why I did that. That's like an advanced way of counting, or that's really, I shouldn't say an advanced way, it's the musician's way of counting. You're going to start over with 1 at the beginning of every measure. And if you're counting the number of G's that you have, that's fine, because that might help you kind of get along, get through the song. But that's not going to help you in the future when you have more complicated rhythms other than quarter notes and quarter rests. So when you're counting that, don't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then play the D. And that will also help that you make sure you get the D in the correct place. So if you mess that up, go counting G's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now D. And you might think it's easier just to count to 7. Why can't I do that? I'm trying to prepare you for more advanced things. So get in the habit of doing that now. Okay? Practice that one till you can't get it wrong.